Hello, ladies, gents, and everybody in between. This is your pal Wolfie with the company of my cats coming back at you with another video review, this time for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie. So just to give you guys some background, I personally wasn't a big fan of the very first movie. Not that I thought it was bad, it didn't click with me the same way it clicked with other people. Like, I know that most audiences really enjoyed that movie, and I'm not saying it's bad again. I thought it was good. It just didn't. It was a watch once and never watch it again kind of a movie for me. So I kept my expectations pretty low when it came to this one. I only watched one trailer so that I could go in as blind as possible, and I'm happy to report that thankfully this movie for me was a whole lot better experience. So I thought that the animations were better. I thought the music was better. I even enjoyed the story a lot more, because typically when it comes to origin stories, like with the first movie, to me that they don't really resonate as much. So this one had its own like really original take on the whole Sonic lore, and this time it introduced us to Knuckles and Tails, which are among my personal favorite in the like Sonic universe. So I was very excited. Honestly, it was hearing about Idris Elba playing Knuckles that made me go like, okay, so I have to go see this now. But anyway, I think everybody, all the voice work was absolutely perfect. Everybody was right on point. Everybody showed their range. Yes, Knuckles was the most memorable simply because I'm mostly a Knuckles fan. But putting that bias aside, everybody did a perfect job. Another pro that I can give this movie is that I just had a lot of fun. Like, I genuinely had a lot of fun watching this movie, where I didn't have that with the first. So I was laughing. I was singing along with some of the music that they had in there. I was coming out of my seat, literally jumping in front of the jumping towards the screen like, oh my god. Like, the reactions I feel that they were trying to get out of people, they definitely got out of me without a shadow of a doubt. Where I would give some negatives to this movie, though, is they tried really hard to put some focus on the human characters in this movie, a lot more than they did with the first one. And I felt like, even though it wasn't bad per se, I thought, like, I was entertained by it, but at the same time, when I go back and look at it, I'm like, did certain parts in this movie really need to be there? No. I think that's the problem that a lot of people might have going into this. There's, again, not to spoil anything, there are certain parts in this movie, particularly surfacing around the human characters, that kind of drag the pace down for the film, where when it's the animated characters, like, it's hitting beat for beat, nothing's missing. But as soon as you get to the human aspect, it's like you're kind of like, ha, this is nice, but I would really like to get back to those guys, one of those. So that would be my one really big criticism for it. I feel like those parts could have either been smaller, like trimmed down, or cut out completely, and the movie wouldn't have suffered for it. To segue, this kind of plays into that same portion. I wish we could have spent more time with Knuckles and Tails. We do spend a pretty good amount of time with them, but I feel like if we could substitute those parts, those human parts, for more scenes with Knuckles and Tails, this movie would have been, I would have given it a perfect score, honestly, because I had the most fun with all of those, with the three Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails on screen. And even Robotnik. Jim Carrey does it once again. He was my favorite part of the first movie, and he definitely was one of my favorite parts of this movie. He's not as prominent in this one as he was in the first movie, but that didn't stop it did not stop him at all from stealing the show every time he was on screen. Even with his assistant, like, I have some thoughts about him with his assistant, but I feel like that's gonna be going on spoiler territory, so I won't talk about it. But I'll tell you that they're very entertaining. Like I said, all the performances, even the human performances, all were great, all were fantastic. Like I said, it's just that, you know, there was some parts that really just didn't need to be there. But overall, this is just a really, really fun movie. Like, pure and simple. It is a fun movie. Like, even if you might not dig some of the plot, I think that you'll still just have a good time laughing and just enjoying yourself. This movie took me by surprise. It took me by surprise. And I'm happy. I love when I can report that a movie that I had very low expectations for ended up coming out being a great movie. So far, it has to be my favorite movie that I've seen this year thus far. And it's still a lot more of the year to go. But with that being said, I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10 if I had to give it a score. The great casts, fantastic music, set pieces, all that totally sold me. I just, like I said, all I wish is that they would have either trimmed down or completely cut out some of those human portions of it, and I think the movie would have been a lot better for it. I think that if you enjoyed the first Sonic movie, you'll enjoy this one. And I also think if you, like me, who didn't really enjoy the first Sonic movie, you might end up enjoying this one. So, but I would love to hear what you guys think. So go ahead and put whatever you want to say about it. If you've seen it, or if you plan to see it, go ahead, look in the comments. If you saw it based on my review, I would love to hear about that too. Leave a like, subscribe. Any support is, I'm grateful for it. And feel free to check out my Twitch channel as well if you want to see the game content that I'm going to be doing. And let's just have some fun.